Hi, I'm Steve, Pentagram Motorsport. We've got a few repairs to do on a Bora today. We're going to do full service on it. Going to change the sump and a couple of bits and pieces. Here at the minute is the Bora, which obviously we'll be working on today. It's already safely supported on axle stands. Never get under the car without axle stands or something else supporting it, not a jack. Let's crack on with this Bora. Okay, the first thing you'll notice when I open the bonnet on this car is that I've actually got it supported by a hammer, because there's supposed to be a bar that goes from here down to here. I changed the bonnet and the bar ended up on the old bonnet. So these things, they're easy. There's a little clip goes in there. You can just about see how that's in the open position there. So that goes on the car side, and this one pushes this end, push on the bonnet side. There we go. And the other end onto there, like that. And then all we do is just snap the spring clip back into position and it is good to go. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the parts that I'll be changing today. So we have here, let me open this up. This is the fuel filter, engine bay. Sits in this location here, just behind the wash bottle. See the old one? Been on the car probably about 2 years. It was a genuine Volkswagen one as well. You can see it's already rusty and what have you. So we'll replace that. Goes in there, nice and shiny and new. We also have this, which is the oil filter element. The oil filter canister actually sits underneath here. This literally is 3 clips, and then just literally pull off. So grasp that firmly, pull it towards you, grasp the front, pull it up, and what you'll find is that as it pulls up, it might want to take the dipstick with it, it might not. So I'll remove that engine cover there. This is a PD130 diesel, 1.9 TDI, 130 horsepower Volkswagen engine. This is the canister for the oil filter. This is the dipstick, this is the oil fill cap. So we replace the oil filter. The other thing we replace with the air filter, which sits inside the airbox here. This is pretty easy to do, so it's literally a screw there, once it screws unscrewed, and another little one there. The whole box should open and pivot off. So let's do that now. Okay, so using your favourite crosshead screwdriver. I'm not sure where mine is, so I'll use this one instead. Just unscrew these 2 screws. One here. So captive. Now if you can't get on this screw, the best way to get these clips off, flat blade screwdriver, usually one a bit bigger than this. Tease that way, that unlocks it, and then it will simply, the whole thing will pull right off, like that. So, again, get access to that screw there. Take that one. Okay, just realised I've missed video on the actual filter install. It's that easy. So these 2 screws, as you've seen, the whole thing goes that way, and if it won't come off, this thing here, nip that with some grips, slide it that way, and then this whole piece will come off down that way. Next thing I'm going to do is the oil filter canister. So inside there's a filter element. The way you need to get to it is you need to buy yourself one of these tools. I'll find a couple, link them in the description, but basically 3/8 drive in there, so you can put normal socket in it, and it drops it drops over there like that. Okay, so I have to crank that off at 2 ends. It's literally just turn it off. Inside here there's a paper filter in the oil, so the oil funnels through like that. And move my spot there, and just cleans it on the oil supply side, so you capture all the particles from your oil. So if I lift that off, you can see how very black that is, because that's all. Okay, so one of the things I find invaluable for oil changes is this thing, which is it's a waste bottle. but it has this catch tank built at the top of it. So you remove this bung, place it under the sump. Obviously when you release the drain plug, all the oil drops in there, and then when you're finished you can empty it out with that. So I'm going to lift up the entire filter element out, try my best not to get oil everywhere, and drop that in there like that, and then take the filter element here, lift that out. See, that's draining. It's that in there as well. The idea is to do that and get oil all over your engine bay. It's obviously old oil, it's pretty dirty. So that's it. New filter just drops in there, piece drops in back into it, and away you go. Just reverse the ratchet and tighten it back up again. Key thing when you tighten it, there's a little O-ring here. There's another O-ring hidden away at the bottom. Now when you open your oil filter canister, your new one, you should hopefully find there's 2 new filters in there. The way to do it, replace them if it's come with them, or if it's not, clean them up as best you can, and then use a little bit of oil on there before you fit it. Okay, here we see the filter housing with the new filter installed. You will notice on the top of the filter it says drop. This has now got new seals on here, so I'm going to put a bit of clean oil on them. One word about oil. This engine is a PD130 Volkswagen turbo diesel engine, and they like oil which has Volkswagen grading, has this 507.00 specification. This is the proper Volkswagen long life oil, and 5W30. This particular oil was about the same price as you would pay for a litre of it from Volkswagen. So that's the filter refitted. Drop the housing back on, and then we just wind it gently there. That's all there is to it. There's the oil filter changed. I'll wiggle off, and there's the dual, there's the filter housing, all done. So the last filter that we have to change is the fuel filter. So these are all the fuel lines here. This one slot off, goes off that way. This whole thing lifts out. These ones clip, pop the hoses off. Be aware that it might lose some diesel, so you need rags ready. This car's sat for quite a while. Once it's off, there's a little screw which is here. It's a lot easier to get with the fuel pipes off. Undo that, just loosen that, loosens this clamp, and the whole thing will lift off over. Let's do that now. So we go now, we see with the pipes removed, and some cross-head screwdriver in there. Loosen that off. That'll loosen the clamps on it. Once that's loose, should be able to just lift the fuel filter out. There we go, that's nice and loose there. I'm going to need 2 hands, so I'll switch this for the new one and then we'll reconnect the pipes. One last thing to be aware of before we refit the fuel filter finally. The bottom has 2 small O-rings. So in the filter pack there's a pair of replacement O-rings, so you change them over before you press it home into the top of the new filter. So there we have it, all the fuel lines reattached. These 2 clips reattached. This clip's gone in that way after 2 new O-rings on the bottom of them. Blue one towards the bottom, black one towards the top. And retighten the screw to hold the filter in place. Now, when you start the car, I've primed this filter by pouring a little bit of diesel into it. What you might find is you need to run the fuel pump for a bit before it'll actually fire up, because this needs to fill with fuel before that it can actually supply fuel up here to the fuel rail here. So that's it, that's all the filters in major service. Fuel filter, oil filter, air filter. The one I'm forgetting is the cabin filter, and because I'm cheap and this is just a runabout, I'm not going to do that on this. And the other thing that probably everyone's been screaming at their devices watching this video has gone, you haven't drained the oil. Well, there's a good reason for that. It's drained itself. So the next thing I'm about to do is lob the sump off, which became victim to a speed bump and actually split and emptied most of the oil out the bottom. Okay, this is the sump that I split. You can see there's a big crack here, disappears around there, and it goes up under there as well. So all the oil came leaking out of this. This is the new sump here. So this is usually upside down. This is the bottom of it. This is the sump key, which usually points towards the back of the car. And this is the oil sender, which gives you your oil condition report. So normally to drain the oil, you would under the car release that with one of these drain buckets underneath it, and then just catch the oil as it comes out. Obviously I'm not doing that today because I'm going to change the sump as well. So I will talk you through changing the sump in a different video, but basically you put the key back in. Once you change all the filters, you've got to make sure you put the new sump plug in. I usually buy a brand new sump plug and replace it each time, and then fill it with oil.